How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. Now on today's show, we're going to be talking about the FA Cup, wins for Man City, wins for Liverpool, and a win for Maidstone United.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to DT's Daily. That's right.
So it's Monday morning and I'm going to be putting this back on at the usual time of 7 a.m. UK time. And listen, there's been a busy round of fixtures over the weekend. No Premier League, of course, this FA Cup weekend. It's been a really strange one as an Arsenal fan because we have a 2-week break where we have that kind of winter break and the players go off to Dubai. We come back, we win 5-0 and then we have another 10 days break. So we're sitting there just waiting for tomorrow's game. And I cannot wait, but we'll get into that in another program. But yeah, it was the FA Cup and there was some excitement and there was plenty of talking points. You have to go right back to Thursday for the first game, which was Bournemouth beating Swansea 5-0. Why on earth is an FA Cup tie on a Thursday night? I really don't know. Friday, there was a load of games. Again, I don't understand it. Why are there loads of games on a Friday? It just didn't make any sense. Chelsea against Aston Villa. What an absolute bore fest that was. 0-0. Bristol City against Nottingham Forest. Another bore fest. 0-0. Sheffield Wednesday against Coventry. Another draw, but at least there was a goal apiece in that game. And then we had Tottenham against Manchester City. And until the 89th minute, it was a bore fest. But Man City got the winning goal. Nathan Ake scores that very late in the day. Like I said, I think it was 89th, 90th minute. There were question marks over the goal. Was it a foul on the keeper? Listen, it was not a foul on the keeper. It's as simple as that. Goalkeepers are protected way too much. And I've said this all along, and I was speaking about it with the Luton goal at Burnley, I think it was. That, you know, goalkeepers, when you're coming out and you're going to clear the ball, a lot of the time now they're not actually focusing in, you know, on clearing the ball. They're focusing on getting a little touch. I'm going to go down because 9 times out of 10 I'll always get a foul. Just clear your lines. Punch it clear. Do what you need to do. It's your own fault. And Tottenham's last opportunity of winning a trophy has gone because they're not in Europe and they're not going to win the Premier League. So, yes, another trophyless season for Spurs. But listen, I suppose their fans are used to it by now. We're going to move into Saturday's games and the big game, as far as I'm concerned, and the big true FA Cup, you know, upset, what the FA Cup's about, whatever you want to call it, is Maidstone United beating Ipswich 2-1. Now, first and foremost, Ipswich. If I was their manager, I'd be getting them in on, the next training session this morning, whenever it might be, and I would be working on their finishing. 38 shots and only 1 goal. Maidstone had 2 and scored 2 goals. And I'll tell you something, the second goal, what a finish that was. I spoke about Maidstone in the last round. And I was trying to explain how big it is that they got to where they, you know, were already. They're a step 2 side. They're 4 divisions above my team, which is step 6. I cannot emphasize to you how big it is that a step 2 side is in the 5th round of the FA Cup. It's absolutely insane. You know, they play in the same league as the club that my team ground shares with. You know, our landlords. And they're literally playing them in about 2-3 weeks' time. It's actually mental. Now, the one little part here that I've got to feel sorry for them for is that the draw's already been, you know, done for the 5th round. And everybody, including themselves, wanted that big Premier League tie. Would it be a Man City, a Liverpool, a Manchester United? You look at the manager, he wanted Wolves because of his connection with them. Didn't get it, did they? Oh, imagine being a step 2 side and you get all the way to the 5th round and you have not got a Premier League team. You know, for a lot of these players, you know, they're not playing full time. They don't train full time. They have normal day jobs. And then they have to travel all around the country, midweek, weekends and everything else to play football. And a lot of them will never get that opportunity to play at a Premier League ground. Like, the Etihad, Anfield, Old Trafford, etc. They'll never get that opportunity. And they may never get this opportunity ever again. The likelihood of a step 2 side ever getting to the 5th round of the FA Cup again, it's not going to happen every year. Trust me on that one. So I'm gutted for them. But I'll go through the draw and everything. But in terms of this game, Ipswich, they're second in the Championship. You know, looking to be playing Premier League football next season. Flying. I think they lost 3 games all season. They should have won the game. 38 shots on goal, like I alluded to. But Maidstone, that is the beauty of the FA Cup. That's why it's the best cup competition in the world. Unbelievable. Gutted, though, that they didn't get that Premier League draw. But they'll be buzzing. Listen, they got a chance. They got a chance. They could actually win and then get through to the next round. And then, like, mad. But for me, that's the story of the whole FA Cup. Maidstone United. Leeds against Plymouth Argyle. That finished 1-1. Brighton winning comfortably 5-2 at Sheffield United. Leicester 3-0 win against Birmingham. Luton with a 2-1 win against Everton. Last minute goal that was. Fulham losing 2-0 to Newcastle. See some images as well of Alan Shearer watching the game in the away end. Bet he absolutely loved that. Watford drawing 1-1 with Southampton. Liverpool winning 5-2 against Norwich. First game since the announcement about Jurgen Klopp. Newport County giving Manchester United a scare. 4-2 winners in the end for Manchester United. They were 2-0 ahead. Newport County brought it back. Anthony got the 3rd goal and he celebrated like he'd just won the World Cup. Maybe he's found his level. That's why he was so happy. But yeah, they go through. And then West Brom against Wolves. Big derby game. Wolves win this one 2-0. But everyone will be talking about the crowd trouble and what happened, towards the end of the game. We've all seen the images. If you haven't already, just go and have a search of them and you can see it. And there was a guy that was covered in blood and it's not pretty. And listen, from somebody that stands on the terraces and sees it on a regular basis, we have started to go down this route again where there's this, culture of this terrorists fighting, ultras, whatever you might want to call it. It's the younger generation of supporters that are trying to, bring back the olden days, the Stone Islands, Danny Dyer, Green Street, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's not pretty, man. Like, when you've got so many families that go to football now, and as somebody that takes my own children to games, it's not a nice thing to see. At the end of the day, if you lot want to go to football and, go and sniff a load of coke and get drunk and have a scrap, then do it somewhere away from the ground. And, do it where you lot can continue doing it to your heart's content. Listen, it is what it is at the end of the day. It's not nice scenes, but yeah, apparently it was to do with, Wolves fans in the West Brom end. And if that is true, then you're an idiot for going in there anyway. That's like me going and sitting in, the Spurs end. Like, why would you do it? Why? Why on earth would you go and do that? Especially against one of your rivals in a big derby game. It's like, a Birmingham fan going to sit in the Aston Villa end, or a Celtic or Rangers fan going to sit in one of the either. You just don't do it, man. Honestly. So, yeah, not, nice scenes and not something nice for the weekend. And yeah, also speaking about supporters, actually, while I remember this as well, there's a video circulating of Maidstone United and obviously them celebrating the second goal. I don't want to laugh. Like, it is funny because apparently he's absolutely fine and everything. But if you've ever seen Ipswich's ground where the away end is, the top tier, there's like a slanted roof in front of it. And I've always thought, like, you could just walk on it or fall down it or whatever. And there's a video of when they scored, there was a guy that actually started rolling down this roof and fell to the bottom tier. It's not a big drop. Like, don't get me wrong. It's like not like the Emirates or something where you top tier to lower tier. It's not a big drop, but it, because the guy's fine, and like, so you've seen it, it was quite funny seeing it, and he obviously enjoyed his day. And it was an accident, obviously, but it is what it is. But yeah, look, listen, let's talk about all the good stuff over the weekend and the FA Cup and what it's really about and everything else, and Maidstone United and everything, and not the scenes that we saw at West Brom Wolves. In terms of that draw, there is one more game actually tonight, which is Blackburn against Wrexham. Interesting game because the winner of that will be at home to Newcastle. So you look at that and you think if Wrexham were to win, they get a home tie against Newcastle, and you got to sit there and think to yourself, oh, imagine if Wrexham got Newcastle. How lucky would it be for them? And you got poor little Maidstone that would love a tie like that. But yeah, it is what it is. Chelsea or Aston Villa versus Leeds or Plymouth. Bournemouth against Leicester. Liverpool at home against Watford or Southampton. Bristol City or Nottingham Forest at home to Manchester United. If that's Nottingham Forest, that'll be a tough one for Manchester United. Wolves against Brighton. That should be an interesting game. Sheffield Wednesday or Coventry versus Maidstone United. And that's not being disrespectful to Sheffield Wednesday or Coventry, but I think even their fans will appreciate, Maidstone not being happy about that and just being kind of like deflated. Luton against Manchester City. Could be a tough game that for Man City going to Kenilworth Road. Went there earlier on in the Premier League and were losing at one point in that, so that won't be easy. But yeah, that's the ties for the fifth round, and some interesting ones in there. Wait and see what gets picked for the television, because so far everyone that they picked, majority of them been boring, and there's hardly been any goals. So let's see some excitement. But yeah, look, listen, that is it for today's DT's Daily. There's going to be a preview out this evening for the Arsenal game against Nottingham Forest. So watch out for that. If you're new around here, hit the subscribe button, smash a like on this video, and I will see you a lot soon. I'm out of here.